Welcome to my channel. My name is Kate. I'm a hypnotherapist, and I'm talking today about catastrophizing cognitive disorder. What is this new diagnosis? What is this that everyone is now talking about, and a lot of people are feeling? So when catastrophizing thoughts became so common in today's society, people started to, psychiatrists and psychologists and researchers and neuroscientists started to categorize it, right? So define it and put it into some form of like a group of patterns, behaviors, and symptoms. And they started to define it as a disorder, because disorder is something that happens all the time. Right? So if you have anxious feelings for one day, that could mean, didn't have a good day. But if you have anxiety that just keeps triggered every single day, then they will put it as a disorder, right? When you cannot control it, it happens for years and it's causing even your body to react in a certain way. Then people doctors, they all need to categorize, to put a name onto it. What are these catastrophizing thoughts? Why we are in this never-ending cycle of creating worst scenario. And we think, oh, this is the worst. No, catastrophizing thoughts can create even worse scenarios, right? And it can never end if you don't end it. The thing is, with catastrophizing thoughts, you can do so much. Really, you can do so much. But the first thing is to realize that only you can change it, right? So people started to say that it's a disorder. What if it's a compensating coping mechanism? Your body can only adjust and compensate. So maybe with catastrophizing thoughts, it's actually either adjusting or compensating. We're going to talk about what is this compensating mechanism, coping mechanism. So, for example, one of the roots and causes of negative thoughts and creating the worst scenario that goes into the cycle, right? Into catastrophizing, it could be that lack of physical movements. I've already talked about it in a previous video about anxiety, but this is really crucial to understand. When your body doesn't move, when you just sit there on the couch, binging Netflix, not even moving, your job involves only sitting at the office or at the computer. Your mind needs exercise. Your survival anxious brain needs exercise. And if it doesn't, it will spike those thoughts. It will spike thoughts about danger, danger, danger. Where is the danger? And it will create. And on top of that, you put all of the movies that you watch, the horror movies, the news, the social media, whatever you hear, whatever you see, it all adds up and creates this picture, this universal picture studio. And even they cannot really outdo you, because sometimes our mind is such an incredible movie studio. So what are the causes of negative thoughts and catastrophizing thoughts? Very often it's a habit. It's a habit of thought that we have adopted from some of our caregivers. So for example, if your mom used to be very anxious and overprotective, like a helicopter mom, right? Always telling you about all the dangers that are awaiting for you everywhere, naturally, you will see that as well. You will see that as well. And you will have your own experiences that will just add to that catastrophizing. Absence of physical movement as well. So if you want to release the catastrophizing thought, one of the ways is to exercise. Not over-exercise, because that's also a question. If you start to over-exercise, what are you letting go? What are you decompressing? That's also an option. So you are a highly sensitive person. Sometimes the root and the cause of catastrophizing cognitive disorder is that you are a very highly sensitive person. So every perception, every feeling, every news that you hear or feel, you feel it on a higher level. And the higher level of your emotions and feelings, the more thoughts are created that will feed on those emotions. No? a lack of knowledge about how to control your mind. Catastrophizing usually is a complete loss of control over your mind, right? Because you go into that loop and you create more and more and more, and it just goes on until you shut down, or you go into this freeze mode that you don't know how to get out of there because your mind controls you. You're not your mind. Mind is your tool. Remember that. Your mind is your tool. If you don't know how to use that tool, but you know how to use everything else in your house and in your phone and the computer, then it's still not going to be any good out of that if you don't control your mind. And this is the only thing you can control. Really, we cannot even control our body. Anything can happen, but you can control your mind and how you see things. Catastrophizing thoughts could be as a trauma response as well. So if you had trauma like terrorist attack, assault, sexual abuse, physical abuse, neglect, or something unexpected, isolated, emotional happened, your mind will lock onto that moment until it's resolved. It will lock and will bring you back, creating those catastrophizing thoughts. And there are so many of them. You know, for me, I used to have catastrophizing thoughts, but I never really knew what that was. I mean, so for example, if my husband didn't call me, I wouldn't think that he's cheated on me. I would think that what if he's laying on the side of the road bleeding and no one calls him, and then I'm like, and I just develop that. I am a director of that scenario. And then trust me, there is no limits. There are no limits to your mind. If people are telling you there is no limits to your mind, they are right. There is no limits to your life, to your mind. What happens? What happens in the catastrophizing cognitive disorder when it becomes such an obsessive, never-ending cycle of those thoughts every single day regarding, I don't know, your daughter, your son, or your child is late from school, 5 minutes late, and you already have catastrophizing thoughts. You hear something on the news and your mind just develops that idea. The thought creates emotions. Emotions create feelings. Feelings create energy. Energy, if not released, if not coped with or addressed, energy is creating symptoms. Symptoms are painful and uncomfortable, so they will create another thought. And how it goes back again, right? The thought, and then it goes back into the feelings, emotions, and energy, and back, right? So your body, a physical body, right, is kind of the last one, and then you loop around again. Right? So you have physical symptoms. For example, you might have like an increased heart rate and you might think, okay, this is heart attack. And then you might start to catastrophize even more. Catastrophizing thoughts will depend on what images, what experiences you had. Some people watched horror movies, so they will imagine what can happen to their child if they're late from school and they don't or your family members don't pick up the phone. It will be based on what you hear on the news, on the criminal records around the community, right? Or the horror movies that you have watched. So this is how it's going to go. What can you do to break that cycle? The first thing, you break that cycle. So what do you do? For example, if you have this, if your partner is not picking the phone, and you know they're driving right now, and there is a huge traffic, and there is an accident. You already see on live it's an accident, and you and your partner doesn't pick up. You start the catastrophizing cycle. You start to imagine all of the things that are happening, which creates physical symptoms. You either clap your hands and you say, I'm stopping this thought. I don't have to develop this thought further. I don't want to develop this thought further. I'm not entertaining these thoughts. I don't want them. I don't like them. I choose not to think about it. Tell that to yourself, even if you don't believe in it. You need to tell that to yourself. Another thing is track your thoughts. So track your thoughts. What are these catastrophizing thoughts? What are they about? Death, injury, abuse, apocalypse, end of life, like whatever it is, track it so that you can find the pattern. Is it a fear of dying? Is it a fear of abandonment, fear of staying alone, losing loved ones, poor health, permanent illness? Whatever it is, track it so that you can see, oh, I have actually, I guess, fear of dying, or I have fear of poor health. Let me go and figure it out, right? So limit the exposure to social media and news. The first thing, limit the exposure to negative news. And usually all the news, mostly negative, only a little percentage of the positive ones, an educational one. Most of them will be negative and about what is happening. Inflation, price raises, wars, pain. And I know that, and by the way, reading the news, it's an addiction. It's an addiction. You want to control, to be prepared for whatever is going to happen. And it's not a bad thing, but it definitely creates a lot of issues, emotional and physical, in your body and in your life. Another way that you can do is start, if you can create a catastrophizing scenario, create a beautiful, positive scenario. You know, some people, when they have fear of flying, they imagine how they land, how they're already in that city, enjoying their vacation. Do that. Do that for yourself. Imagine a positive scenario like it's happening right now. Close your eyes. If you are not comfortable with closing your eyes and going into any type of inner work, mindfulness and meditation, there is much bigger problem than catastrophizing disorder. Complete disconnection from yourself, right? So please, if you close your eyes and imagine that positive scenario, positive, and what is happening in your life with the good outcome. For example, if your husband or your wife doesn't pick up, tell them, we are having an incredible dinner right now. I'm going to close my eyes and imagine they're coming right here, right now. And we are having an incredible wine, dinner, beautiful food, amazing conversation, lots of cuddling and family time. And you do that until someone comes opens the door, and that's your partner or your kids. So imagine that. Imagine that good scenario. Another one is practice relaxation. When we have catastrophizing disorder, cognitive disorder, we have loss of control. So we want to control, right? Whatever is the future. We want to control the future. But you cannot control the future. So the only thing is this tension that creates hyper control, right? You need to release it. So the best way is to practice relaxation. Always remember that any disorder, any diagnosis that you have, it's not the end of the world. It doesn't define your life. Please ask for experts, look for different opinions, sample things, and you will find out that there is no definite thing. No one can tell you what's going to happen to you. And if people saying that you're going to struggle with this for your whole life, go change the doctor, go change your environment so that you have people who believe in you, believe in your healing. I hope that you like this video. Please comment below if you have any question, if you want me to make more videos about catastrophizing thoughts. By the way, postpartum depression triggers catastrophizing thoughts as well. So if you want to hear that as well, I'll be happy to make a video for you. I love you all. Be healthy, emotionally and physically. Bye.